Hello and welcome to our fourth session on this Unity profile creation, and in this session we are going to program a simple interactive experience where you control a character in a living room scene and move around to collect objects. You will be able to choose from a variety of characters and collectible objects. In our example, we will use a robot vacuum that maneuvers to pick up the dirt around the room. The skills that we are going to learn here is about the game object, create a game object component with a script, work with game object components, and then we are going to come into programming part of level 1 code comprehension, interpret basic code in a Unity code base, and next we are going to do an application scripting, control the execution of code with common logic structures, compose script and utilize various APIs, cultivate a code style that is efficient and easy to read. And we are also going to work with Unity cameras, configure a Unity camera for the scene. Learning to program in Unity opens up limitless possibilities for interactivity, allowing you to develop unique and engaging experiences. Depending on the code you write, you can make a puzzle game, an action adventure, a product configurator, a VR simulation, and much more. To learn the essentials of programming, you will bring an interactive living room scene to life where the user controls the character to collect objects. First, you will create a script using some provided code that allows you to steer the character, that is our vacuum cleaner, around the room. Next, you will write your first C# code from scratch to make a collectible object rotate. Learn about key programming concepts like data types and variables. Then you will dive deeper into scripting, making the collectibles disappear and spawn a particle effect when the player collects them. You will need to learn about new function and if statements to achieve this. Now let's jump and start coding. If Unity Hub is not launched, double click on Unity Hub to launch it. Now come into project. If you are continuing from the previous session, then you can directly open the project. But if you have not done the previous session, or if you want to start it fresh from this session, then this entire project is available to you on Patreon. Now in the YouTube video description or in your e-learning description, click on more here and you have a Patreon link here. Click on the Patreon link. You will be redirected to this Patreon page and just scroll down. And here you can see Unity Profile Programming Essential start.zip. Click on this to download it. Once it is downloaded, right click on this and extract this entire file. Come into Unity Hub. You have add here, add project from disk. Choose this option and choose the folder that you just now extracted and click on open. But right now I will click cancel because I am starting from the previous session. So I will just click on this Unity profile to launch this project in Unity. Once the project is launched, come into the project window assets, open Unity profile contents and come into scenes. And now we are going to select this 4 living room programming scene. Double click this to open it. Now once it is open, come to 3 living room in the hierarchy, select it and press F. And then Alt left mouse and turn around to see this in the right view. And if required, roll the mouse up and zoom it a little. With middle mouse pressed, I will just pan and adjust this. I am going to temporarily switch off this camera overlay. I will click in this empty area to deselect everything and you are now seeing this living room. Now we are going to start by adding a player who navigates through this living room. A variety of players are provided to you in the provided prefabs. So for that, come into this assets, Unity profile contents, prefabs. Here if you come to characters and double click to open it, you can now see you have this car racing, car taxi, dump truck, mouse, robot vacuum cleaner 1, robot vacuum cleaner 2, train and a UFO. I am going to select this robot vacuum underscore 1 as my player and I am going to just drag this and put it at the entrance of my door here like this on this mat. And after I add it, I will come into the hierarchy, select robot vacuum underscore 1, press F2 and I am going to call this the player. Now come into the scene and press F and then press Alt left mouse, turn around to see this. Now only thing is it is facing towards the top here. I want this to face towards right. So for this, with the player selected, I will come into the rotation and rotate it along the y axis by 90 degree and press enter. If I save this and if I execute the game, you can see that all the objects in my scene are static and nothing is moving. Now we are going to add action, or we are going to make our player act or perform, and for this performance we are going to make it perform through the script. So I will stop the playback, and now I want this player to move. If I press W, he should move forward. If I press A, he should turn left. If I press D, he should rotate right. We are going to write or prepare our first C# script in Unity Profile. I will come into this Assets, Unity Profile Contents, and you have a folder called Scripts. I will double click to open it, and you already have a folder called Provided Script. I will right click here, come into Create, and I am going to select this option Mono Behavior Script. And when I click on it, and immediately without deselecting, I am going to name this as Player, again C capital ONTROLLER. I am going to name this as Player Controller, and I am going to press enter. So now I have added a script, and immediately on the right hand side it is showing me compiling script, and you see a rotating wheel. You have to wait till the script is completely compiled. Now once the script is compiled, I have to open this, and we are going to open this using an integrated development environment IDE, and the IDE we are using here is Visual Studio Code. Actually, to set this IDE, you can come to Edit, and in Preferences you have an option here External Tools, and you have External Script Editor, and in the list I am going to select Visual Studio Code. And if I close this, now if I double click on this player controller, the player controller will automatically open in my Visual Studio Code platform, and here I am going to click on Yes, I trust the author, and you can see your entire Unity Profile folder structure. You can see it on the left hand side here, and now this player controller.cs, CS is the extension for C# script. So this is open, and by default you have some 16 line code here, wherein you have the first line using Unity engine, and then you have void start and void update. If you come back to the Patreon page link that is provided in the YouTube description or in your e-learning description, in the attachment you are seeing here a text file called as player controller underscore code.txt. Now click on this to download this file, and once this file is downloaded, open it in the downloads folder, and this is a text file. Double click this text file to open it in your notepad. Press Ctrl A to select everything, or go to Edit and click on Select All. Then go to Edit and copy this. Now come back to Unity, and in this player controller.cs file, select this entire code here and press Ctrl V to paste it. Now I have provided you the basic code that is required to make our player move. How to type this code, what is the structure, we are all going to discuss it in detail later, but as of now just copy it and paste it here, then go to File and save this. Now come back to Unity, and here the code is now getting compiled. And once it is compiled, come into the console window and see that you doesn't have any error. When you do copy and paste, if you have done any error, it will be highlighted here. I will come into the project window, and now this player controller script is ready, but it is not added into our scene. And the place where we have to add it is, we have to add it to the player. So I am going to select the player, then I am going to drag this player controller from here onto the scene here to the player object, or in the hierarchy I will come on this player and drop it. Now immediately if you see in the inspector, you can see this player controller script added, and it has two parameters: the speed at which this player is going to move, and second is the rotation speed. Now leaving it as default, I will come to file, save this, and now if I execute the game, you can now see that if I press W, I am going to move forward. If I press A, I rotate left. If I press D, I rotate right. W moves forward, S moves back. So you have W moving forward, S moving backward, A rotating to left, and D rotating to right. And the user can now, through his keyboard WASD buttons, he can move this player to any part of our room. So congratulations, you have now created your first action in Unity using the C# script. So right now I will stop the playback, come to file and save this. Our next mission is to make our player camera follow this player. Now right now if you see in the game view, our actual camera is placed at one position and the player is moving. Now our camera has to follow this player. If you come back to project Unity profile content scenes, and if you come to the first starter scene, in the starter scene we had created similar motion, but in this case we had made use of a Cinemachine component. So if you open player in main camera, we used this Cinemachine brain and we made this camera follow this robot. I will come back here and open this 4 living room program scene again. This time instead of adding Cinemachine brain or using some component, the best way to make the camera follow our player is make our main camera the child of the player. I will select this camera, just drag this and drag it over the player. So now the main camera is the child of the player. Now come into the scene, and if I enable this preview, you can now see the camera is placed in the same position. If I come into the transform, I am going to reset its value to 0, 0, 0. The main camera is at the origin point of my player. So you are seeing from the angle of the player. So if you come into the game view, you are seeing from the angle of the player, but the actual player or the vacuum cleaner is not visible. So to make it visible, let us now select this main camera. I will right click here and come into the front view, and I am just going to drag this up a little. But as of now you are not seeing the vacuum cleaner because in the inspector you have one clipping plane. The value is set to 0.3. Changed it to 0.01 and immediately now you can see the vacuum cleaner. I will just move it along the x-axis little to the back like this, so that our entire vacuum cleaner is visible. So I will move it back by approximately around minus 0.6 unit. If you come into the game view and see, I am seeing the robot correctly. And now if I execute the game, now we are going to start in this view, and if I press W, you can see that as my vacuum cleaner is moving, my camera is following. If I press A, camera also rotates. If I press W, it moves in this angle. If I press D, it rotates on the other side. Press W, it moves like this. Press D, rotate it back. Come to the door here and again press D and bring it back to its original position. So I will stop the playback, come to file and save this. When this player is moving, I can control the speed and the rotation angle speed by using some parameters. If I come into the player we had attached this player controller script and we had set the speed to 5 and rotation speed to 120. I will set this speed to around 2 and I will set the rotation speed to 30. Now, if I save this and if I execute the game, now you can see if I press W, the movement is slow. If I press A, it is rotating slow. If I press D also, the rotation is slow. If I press W, it moves slow. And if I press S also, the speed has been reduced and both the rotation angle speed also has been reduced. Now I will stop the playback. The next part of this game development is to add some dirt or collectibles. I will just come into this scene view, roll the mouse back to zoom out. I will right click, tilt up and press E to move up. I will right click and turn around. Here I want to add some dirt point. And I want this dirt point also to be rotating or animated. All the different kind of dirt has been provided to you already in the prefab. So if you come into Unity Profile Contents Prefab, you have a folder called Collectibles. If I double click and open this, you have collectible apple, you have collectible cheese, collectible coin, dirt, fish bones, gem diamond, heart, key, money, you have music note, puzzle piece, collectible star and tonic. Now here I am going to select this collectible dirt and I am going to drag it into my scene. I will come into the hierarchy, select this collectible dirt, press F2 and I am going to call this as dirt 1. Then I will come into the scene and press F to zoom in into this dirt. Now our next mission is, I want this dirt to be animated. That is, it should keep on rotating and I want this rotation to happen along the y axis. So if you come into the transform and along the y axis, if I rotate it, see it is rotating and I want this rotation to be continuously happening, and this animation we are going to create it using the script. So right now here I will set the y rotation back to 0. Come to the project window and in Unity Profile Contents, open the scripts folder, right click and this time I am going to create a new mono behavior script, and as soon as I create the script, before I deselect it, I am going to rename this as Collectibles. Remember, always try to rename it as soon as you create the script. This is because when you create the script and name it, the name of the script present here, and when I double click and open it, the name of the script present here in the public class should be the same. So that's why as soon as you create the script, rename it. So now I will come back to Unity. Now here I have created this collectible script and I am going to apply this collectible script to my dirt 1. This time I will select dirt 1 and I am going to select the collectible script and drag it into the inspector window. Now this collectible script is added. Now I will double click collectible to open this in my Visual Studio Code. And by default, every mono behavior script will start with this using Unity engine line, and then in the Unity script it starts with a class which is, we call it as mono behavior, and the name of this class and the name of this file will be the same. And between this open flower bracket and the close flower bracket, whatever commands or the code we are going to write will get executed. Now by default, in this mono behavior class, there are two methods. One is called as the start method, another is called as the update method. Now start method, this is a built-in method in Unity, and this method is followed by two parentheses, and then between this open and close flower bracket, whatever code you are going to type here will be executed when our game starts. However, in this case, I want this to get executed every frame. Then we are going to use another method here called update. And even in this update, there is one open flower bracket and close flower bracket, and in between this, whatever command I am going to add it here, it will be executed every frame of your game. I am going to come into Unity, and you can see that if I select dirt1, the rotate comes under the component transform. Inside the transform component, we have this rotate, and in rotate we have 3 axis values x, y and z. So understanding this, I will come into the script, and this is the first line of script that you are typing now in C#. I am going to just call now transform, and then I am going to add a period. In transform, I am going to call rotate. Then immediately you can see a helping code is available to you here. Right now I will type rotate, and then I will put open close bracket and end it with semicolon. Remember, in C# every line should end with a semicolon. Now I will come in between this parenthesis, and for x rotation I will set the value to 0, comma, I will press space, and for y I want this to rotate by 1 unit, comma, then I am going to type 0 for z unit. So we have just typed one line of code, transform.rotate 0 1 0. Now if I come to file, I will save the script, and if I come back to Unity, wait for the script to compile, and once it is compiled, now if I play the game, you can now see that the cube is rotating. For example, if I come into the scene view, you can see my cube is constantly rotating along a y axis. Now if I want this rotation speed to be increased or decreased, say for example here it is rotating very fast and I want to decrease the speed, means I will stop the playback, come back to the script. We had given this value as 1. I am going to select this 1, and instead of 1, I am now going to type this as 0.5. Now in Unity and C#, whenever you use decimal space, it should be followed by the letter F. So you can see it is prompting me to type F. So if I type F, this means that this is a float number. This is a decimal value. Now if I go to file and if I save this, I will come back to Unity, allow for the script to compile, and once it is compiled, now if I play the game, you can now see the speed has reduced. If I come into the scene view, see it is rotating at a slower speed. Now I will stop the playback. I want this speed to be controlled in this inspector. I will come back to Visual Studio Code. Instead of entering the value directly, now we are going to use a concept called as variable. Now variable is a temporary container which is going to hold a particular type of value. First I am going to declare a variable and call it as rotation speed. In this public class collectible mono behavior, as soon as this open flower bracket starts, I will press enter, and now I am going to make this, that is, it can be used even outside this script. Public means, then type of my data is float, and I am going to give it a name as rotation. I will make S capital speed, and I will set this value to 0.5 f and end it with semicolon. So now I created a variable called as rotation speed. Now coming into transform.rotate, instead of entering the value directly, I will call this variable rotation speed, and I am going to save this. It is asking me to multiply it by time delta time. This is because I am going to explain this in detail later, but as of now I will enable this into time delta time also. Then I will come to file and I am going to save this, and if I come back to Unity, allow for the script to compile, then if I click the play button, now you can see that this is rotating at a very slow speed because I have added time delta time. So if I come into the scene, see it is rotating so slowly, it is rotating. So I will stop the playback. In the inspector itself you can see the rotation speed. Now if I set the rotation speed, say for example to around 20 here, I will come to file and save this, and now if I execute this, you can now see this is running at a faster speed. So if I come into the scene view, see this is rotating and this is what the speed I needed. So now I can control this speed directly in my inspector. So I will stop the playback. So whatever value I enter here in the rotation speed, I can increase or decrease it directly in my inspector. So now I will come to file and I am going to save this.